If Apple added at least half of the things that I'm going to mention in this video, iPhones would be unstoppable. But until then, here's what Android users have been quietly enjoying for years. The first thing that I wish iPhones had is a more in-depth notification setting. Some of the apps that we use on a regular basis sends non-stop notifications, especially spams, promotions, etc. On Android, you can just block out the spammy parts of the notification while keeping the important ones alive. On iPhone, you either have to turn it off or just keep it on. There's no in between. The second one is file access. On Android, you can open up pretty much any file type, zips, documents, APKs, you name it. But on iPhones, you need specific apps to open certain files. The Files app is improving, but it's way behind Android. Third is customization, especially for the always on display. Apple's always on display is really basic. It just shows the time and gives us the option to show a wallpaper or not. But on Android, you can completely revamp the always on display and even make it look like the iPhone standby mode by using some third-party app. I think Apple will eventually do this because over the past few years, they've been gradually making the lock screen more customized. But right now, it's still very limited. Fourth one is app cloning. Android phones, you can split an app into two. For example, you can run two WhatsApp accounts with two different numbers on the same phone. This is especially useful for people using dual SIM. iPhones, this is completely missing. Personally, I think this is a feature a lot of users would benefit from. Even my uncle carries two iPhones because of the same problem. Fifth is advanced camera features. iPhones have amazing camera and truly incredible video quality. In fact, I'm right now shooting on cinematic mode on an iPhone. But the problem is, in the native camera app, we have very less control over this powerful hardware. I really wish Apple introduced a pro mode in their native camera app where we can manually adjust the ISO, shutter speed, white point, focus, etc. You can get those features by using apps like Valens, but most of the pro features are there for paid members. A quick reminder for a second, currently we are on the race to hit 100 subscribers, so if you haven't done that yet, please consider doing so. The sixth one is NFC limitation. NFC is there on iPhones, but it's mostly restricted to Apple Pay due to developer restrictions. On Android, you get full flexibility. You can make payments and integrate NFC into your daily life in creative ways. If Apple removed the restrictions on NFC, then it would unlock so much potential for users. The seventh one is cache cleaner. On an Android, if an app builds up temporary files, just go to settings and clear the cache. On iPhone, you just have to delete and reinstall the application. This can be annoying sometimes because it can lead to data losses if you don't have a backup, especially apps like WhatsApp. The eighth one is clearing recently used applications. Let's be honest. Most people don't clear the recent apps that too often because they know reopening them can lead to more battery drain. So after a long day when we go to sleep, we just clear the recent apps. On Android, one tap clears all. But on iPhones, you just have to clear them individually, which is a nightmare if you use a lot of applications. Apple, please, if you're listening to this, even if you didn't add any of the things that I mentioned in this video, please add this one feature. Ninth one is limited screencasting. iPhone only supports Apple AirPlay. So as a result, you cannot use Miracast or Chromecast unless you're doing a workaround. 10th one is alarm. This might sound silly, but iPhones lacks the ability to set alarms on a future day. On Android, you can set alarms for the next week or maybe even the next year if you want to. This can be super useful for reminders tied to specific days far ahead. 11th one is keyboard limitation. iPhone's keyboard has been pretty much the same since its release. To get to the numpad and return, you have to press twice. For symbols like hashtag, you just have to press 3 times. Again, here on Android, you have the numpad on the top and you can hold down these keys to get to other characters. Let's move on to 12th one, which is volume slider. Android has the ability to separate volume into calls, media, etc. So you can reduce the volume of the one which is needed, which is just not there on the iPhone. The next one is really interesting. Siri. The voice assistant that you get from the Perplexity app is far better than Siri in doing tasks. But here on Android, we can replace Google Assistant with Perplexity. On iPhone, Siri cannot be changed. This is a problem because the deeply integrated Siri that Apple promised in WWDC 2024 will only be available in 2026. If you have the iPhone 15 Pro or the later model, you can just map it to the action button so you can access it access this AI assistant really easily. If you don't have that, then you can just add it as a shortcut on your lock screen. Thereby, you can directly access it from there. And finally, 14th and the most crucial one, multitasking. I really wish iPhone supported proper multitasking. Sometimes when you want to fill out something while referencing for another thing or just comparing things side to side, multitasking is a no-brainer for you. On Android, you can just split the screen. Whereas on iPhone, you just have to switch between apps. So, iPhone users, what are the things that you wish iPhones had? Let me know in the comments down below. I hope you enjoyed this video, but don't forget to subscribe and support us on the journey of making better content.